Good morning and welcome to the 8:15 daily operations weather brief. This morning we do have broken conditions visible around much of the horizon with an overcast cloud deck directly overhead, and our temperatures have already begun their climb through the upper 70s this afternoon or this morning, with the upper 80s anticipated by this afternoon. And winds are currently remaining light and even variable at times. And for today's precipitation chances, we are looking at around a 30 to 40% chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm come this afternoon, especially as daytime heating gets fully underway and we start to see the effects of a weak front approaching from the northwest. Now, due to the warm and humid air mass located over the region, much like the previous days, any storms that do happen to develop this afternoon may have the ability to drop a lot of rain in a short period of time, especially given the precipitable water values being over 2 inches for much of the day. And with what could be considered light to moderate steering level winds, those storms won't have much pushing them through. They're just going to build and fester and potentially drop a lot of rain. So on that note, we'll move on to our most recent surface analysis chart here, and there is not much to make note of for the immediate future except for that weak cold front that is currently over the Ohio River Valley, and that is continuing to move southeastward through the day and is expected to reach our local area this evening, with temperatures ahead of this front climbing into the upper 80s as mentioned earlier. Now, as this frontal boundary approaches our region this afternoon, some scattered convection could be on the table, especially given the warm and moist air mass that it will be interacting with. And following the passage of that frontal feature, which should exit the region sometime on Friday afternoon and into the evening, we will then see some drier conditions file in from the back, and that should usher in some drier conditions for the days to come and some nicer weather. Now moving on to the current weather as of this morning, we do have that broken cloud deck at 1,500 feet with about 5 statute miles of visibility, and that is due to some mist out there right now. And our winds are largely out of the northwest at about 3 knots, and our temperature currently sits at 77 degrees, and it has been a slow climb for this morning. And our relative humidity currently sits at 97%. So again, another muggy morning. Taking a look at this morning's satellite imagery, we can see some of those storms off to the right-hand side that moved through our area last night. They have continued to push offshore, so no longer impacting our region, and they have brought a lot of the cloud cover that we saw yesterday with them. Now, with that, we do see those light blues building in there as the daytime filter comes through, and that's indicating that lower level cloud deck at 1,500 feet. And then further south, we do see some upper level cirrus clouds associated with some ongoing convection further south, but at the moment, it does look to remain south and looks to continue on that trend for a good portion of the day. Moving on to our most recent model run of this morning. This is the HER on its most recently released 24-hour loop, and we'll wait for it to circle back here. But this afternoon, largely after 1 to 2 o'clock, we'll start to see, here it comes, some of that convection building over our area, in which we might get to see some of that action, but it might build just north of the region, as is fairly typical with this time of the year. Nevertheless, certainly the chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm come this afternoon, but other than that, largely clear as far as our rain chances go. And that brings us on to the 24-hour risk chart. Here we do have broken conditions this morning, turning largely scattered throughout the rest of the day and into tomorrow, with some rain and thunderstorm chances past noon and into the early evening before our chances diminish once again. As for our temperatures today, we are in the mid to upper 70s, and those are expected to climb into the mid to upper 80s. And our winds for today are currently light and expected to remain such, even turning variable at times in the overnight hours. But regardless, winds are anticipated to remain below 10 knots for the day. Taking us on to the short-term risk chart for the next 2 days. On Friday, we can anticipate partly cloudy conditions with a slight chance of a shower or a thunderstorm, and a high of 83, and not bringing in any color onto the day. The chances of those showers or thunderstorms should be pretty sporadic with the nature of what we're seeing on the models. And then Friday night, partly cloudy and a low of 73, and similarly on Saturday, partly cloudy and a high of 81, but greens across the board for the upcoming 2 days, and hopefully some nice weather to follow. And that is going to conclude the 8:15 daily weather operations brief. I'll be back at 10 o'clock with the 7-day outlook.